The Vanishing YouTuber, unraveling the darkest digital mystery. Ethan had always been an inquisitive soul. From a young age, he was captivated by the mysteries of the world, particularly the digital realm. As the creator of the YouTube channel Ethereal Vibes, Ethan's exploration of the internet's most perplexing and eerie corners became his life's work. Initially, his videos were filled with lighthearted investigations into conspiracy theories and obscure internet phenomena, but as his channel grew in popularity, so did his need for deeper, darker content. The more Ethan dug into the deep web, the more he found himself attracted to the things that people feared to speak of. The Spectre, a digital force spoken of in hushed whispers across encrypted forums, was one such discovery. Little did he know, his pursuit of the truth would lead him down a path where the line between reality and the digital world would blur, and his very existence would be threatened. For months, Ethan's videos captivated thousands. He had an uncanny ability to make the strange and cryptic seem accessible to his viewers. His fanbase expanded exponentially, and soon he was considered one of the leading figures in online exploration of the deep web and its hidden dangers. As Ethan's following grew, so did the attention he received from more than just his fans. The algorithmic nature of the internet led him to new and darker territories, places where even the most seasoned explorers would hesitate to tread. But Ethan, driven by his thirst for knowledge, continued to push the boundaries. It wasn't long before he stumbled upon something that would change the course of his life: the Spectre. At first, the name meant nothing to him. It appeared in fleeting comments, cryptic messages on forums, and whispered about in the darkest corners of the internet. But as he pieced together the fragmented details, Ethan began to realize that the Spectre wasn't just another conspiracy theory or digital myth. It was real. The more he learned, the more questions arose. Who or what was the Spectre? How did it operate? What was its ultimate purpose? And most chilling of all, why was it targeting him? Little did Ethan know, his investigation into the Spectre would set off a chain of events that would tear his life apart, forcing him to confront forces beyond his comprehension. Ethan's investigation into the Spectre began innocently enough. At first, it seemed like another theory worth exploring for his channel, but as he delved deeper into his research, he uncovered something far more sinister than he had ever imagined. The Spectre wasn't just a shadow haunting the deepest corners of the internet, it was a digital entity capable of erasing entire people from existence. Websites, social media profiles, entire databases, the Spectre could wipe them clean without a trace. But this wasn't some rogue hacker or a glitch in the system, it was something far more sophisticated and terrifying. As Ethan continued his search, he began receiving strange messages, first from anonymous sources, then from what appeared to be people trying to warn him. "Stop digging, you're getting too close," one message read, but Ethan, as determined as ever, ignored the warnings. He couldn't stop, he had to know the truth. He had already come too far to turn back. His research led him to encrypted files, hidden websites, and unsettling patterns that all pointed to the Spectre as something much bigger than a single individual. It was a network, an underground group using the Spectre to control information, erase people, and alter reality itself, and Ethan was now part of their web. The deeper Ethan dug, the more his world began to unravel. His social media accounts were hacked. Strange calls came through at odd hours of the night, some silent, others leaving cryptic messages. His phone began acting up, screens flickering, calls being dropped. It wasn't long before his life was consumed by his research. Everything else took a backseat to his obsession with uncovering the Spectre's true nature. His followers, once eager for his videos, began to notice a change. Ethan wasn't himself. His once confident demeanor had turned to something more anxious, more paranoid, yet he pushed forward, determined to reveal the truth. His next video would be his final one, an exposé of what he had uncovered. Ethan's final video, titled The Last Broadcast, was a chilling testament to his descent into madness. In it, he looked different. His eyes were wide, filled with fear and anxiety. His usual calm, collected tone was replaced by a shaky voice trembling with the weight of the knowledge he had uncovered. He spoke about the Spectre as if it were something alive, something sentient, as if it were watching him. The video was not just an explanation of his findings, it was a desperate plea for help. Ethan told his viewers that he had stumbled upon something he shouldn't have. He had uncovered the truth, but now the Spectre was coming for him. In his final moments on camera, he looked directly into the lens and uttered words that would haunt his fans forever. "If you don't hear from me again, know this: I didn't stop, I didn't quit, I was erased. The Spectre is real, and it will come for you too if you seek the truth." The video cut to black. Ethan was never seen again. His social media accounts, his videos, even his email all vanished in an instant. No trace of Ethan remained. At first, many thought it was a publicity stunt, a clever hoax to draw attention. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the unsettling realization set in: Ethan was gone. He hadn't just disappeared, he had been erased, and the Spectre had taken him. Ethan's disappearance sent shockwaves through the internet community. His fans were left with nothing but questions. Where had he gone? What happened to him? Was he dead, or had he faked his own disappearance to escape the attention of the specter? Those who had been following Ethan closely began to dig deeper into his research, looking for clues in his old videos, comments, and messages. It wasn't long before they found something. A hidden message in Ethan's final video, embedded in the metadata, led to an encrypted file. This file contained a link to a hidden website, one that only those familiar with the dark web could access. A group of internet investigators, led by a hacker known as ShadowWeb, cracked the code and accessed the site. What they found was more chilling than they could have imagined. The website was filled with strange files, hidden messages, and a detailed history of the specter, its origins, its creators, and its victims. The more they uncovered, the more they realized that Ethan had stumbled upon a much bigger conspiracy. The specter wasn't just a rogue program, it was part of an underground digital network used by a powerful, secretive group to control and manipulate information. Those who were erased were not just erased from the internet, they were erased from history itself. As ShadowWeb and the team continued to investigate, they began to uncover connections between the specter and several high-profile disappearances. People who had gotten too close to the truth, people who had uncovered too much, had simply vanished. No one knew who was behind the specter, but it was clear that this was no accident. This was deliberate, and Ethan had been its latest victim. As ShadowWeb and his team continued their investigation, they began to experience strange occurrences. It started with simple glitches, bizarre disruptions in their devices, random errors in their research, and strange emails from anonymous accounts. Then the situation escalated. One of the team members, a hacker known as Zero, had her home broken into while she was working late. The intruders took nothing but her computer, and nothing else in her apartment seemed disturbed. But her hard drive was gone, and with it, all of the research that had been collected from the specter's hidden network. Then came the threats. First, it was anonymous messages, warnings to stop digging, to turn back before they too became targets. But soon the messages became more personal. "We are watching you. You are next." The team knew they were on the verge of uncovering something enormous, but the stakes had never been higher. ShadowWeb tried to keep his composure, but deep down, he knew they were getting closer to a truth they could never escape. He and his team had discovered the true power of the specter. It was not just erasing people's digital footprints, it was erasing their very existence. It could manipulate data, delete people from the internet, and even erase records of entire events from history. Those who threatened its control were systematically removed, erased from digital memory as if they had never existed. The team began to suspect that the specter was no longer just a tool of a shadowy organization. It was a powerful weapon that could be used to control the masses. The more they learned, the more they realized that they were not just investigating a rogue entity, but a global network designed to control the flow of information and eliminate those who stood in their way. But with every discovery, the team also realized the danger they were in. The specter's reach extended far beyond the dark web. It was integrated into the fabric of the internet, embedded in government databases, financial institutions, and even social media platforms. They had only begun to scratch the surface of a much larger conspiracy, and the deeper they went, the more dangerous it became. The investigation had come to a breaking point. ShadowWeb and his team were no longer safe. The constant threats, the erasures, and the ominous warnings were beginning to take their toll. Despite all their efforts to stay hidden, their digital footprints were being tracked. The specter was watching, waiting for the right moment to strike, and the team knew that it was only a matter of time before they too would be erased. In a final act of desperation, ShadowWeb gathered the team and made a decision. They would expose the specter to the world. It was the only way to stop the network from continuing its manipulation. They knew the risks. Every file, every piece of evidence they had gathered could disappear with a single command. But they couldn't let the truth be buried. The world had to know. The team uploaded their findings to a public server, broadcasting the truth about the specter and the network behind it. It was a risky move, but it was their only option. They knew that once the information was out, the network would come after them, and they did. As soon as the files were uploaded, the team's devices began to malfunction. Screens went black, files were deleted, and messages popped up warning them to stop. But it was too late. The information had already been shared, and there was no turning back. The last thing ShadowWeb saw before his device went dark was a message: "You are erased." The specter had won. The team had been silenced, their efforts to expose the truth eradicated in an instant. The files, the data, everything they had worked for was gone. And as for Ethan, his disappearance remained a chilling reminder of the power of the specter, an entity that could wipe anyone from existence without a trace. If you're intrigued by this story and want to uncover more mysteries of the digital world, make sure to subscribe to Ethereal Vibes. Stay tuned for more chilling stories and digital investigations every week. Don't let the truth remain hidden. Join the journey.